Somewhere in southern France, 300,000 years ago, a small group of humans stopped walking. They had been carrying one of their own for most of the day. Not food, not tools, a body. They dug a shallow pit. They placed him inside. And then they did something no other animal on Earth has ever done. They covered him up and moved on, carrying something invisible with them that had no name yet. We call it grief. But what they were doing was something older than that word, and stranger than we give it credit for. The oldest confirmed human burial ever found is roughly 100,000 years old. It was discovered in Kafze Cave in northern Israel. A young woman, deliberately placed on her side, her knees drawn up, a set of deer antlers laid across her body. Not scattered, placed. Someone made a decision about how she should look when she was left behind. That decision is the gap between us and everything else. No other species does this. Elephants will stand near a dead herd member for hours. Chimpanzees have been observed carrying deceased infants for days. Crows hold what look like gatherings around their dead. But not one of them puts the body in the ground, arranges it, and leaves something behind on purpose. Only us. For most of human history, the question of what to do with the dead had no single answer. Different groups solved it differently, and the solutions tell you almost everything about what they believed. In some early burials, the body was placed in the fetal position, knees to chest, arms folded inward. Anthropologists have argued about this for a century. Some say it was practical. A curled body takes less digging. Others say it was intentional, that early humans were positioning their dead the way a child is positioned before birth, as if the grave was a return to something rather than an ending. Not disposal. A sending back. At Sungir in Russia, 2 children were buried head-to-head roughly 30,000 years ago. Around them, nearly 10,000 ivory beads, fox teeth, mammoth tusk spears, carved figurines. The beads alone would have taken someone 10,000 hours to make. That is more than a year of full-time work, placed underground with 2 children who would never use any of it. These were not wealthy people. They were nomads who carried everything they owned. And they chose to bury the most labor-intensive objects they possessed. Nobody does that unless they believe something is going to continue on the other side. But not every group reached the same conclusion. Some communities practiced sky burials, the body placed on an elevated platform, left for birds and weather to take. Some buried the dead inside the home, under the floor, so the living and the dead continued sharing the same space. Some groups in the archaeological record show evidence of deliberate defleshing, the bones cleaned and kept, carried with the group as they moved. The dead were not left behind. They came with you. And then there is the Shanidar Cave in Iraq. In 1960, archaeologist Ralph Solecki discovered the skeletal remains of a Neanderthal buried with what appeared to be flowers. Pollen from 8 different plant species was found around the body. Hollyhock, groundsel, grape hyacinth, bachelor's button. For decades it was treated as proof that even Neanderthals understood beauty, loss, the impulse to mark a life with something living. Later researchers pushed back. The pollen may have been carried in by burrowing rodents. The flowers may not have been flowers at all in the way we imagine them. The debate has never been fully settled. But here is what nobody disputes. The Neanderthal was buried, deliberately, in a specific place, with the body arranged. Whether the flowers were real or not, someone made a choice about how this body would be treated. And that choice, made by a species that was not quite us 60,000 years ago, is the same choice every human culture in history has made independently. We do not leave our dead where they fall. Nobody taught us this. There is no instruction. Groups separated by tens of thousands of years and thousands of miles, with no contact, no shared language, no shared religion, arrived at the same conclusion. The dead require something from us. We owe them a response. The anthropologist Ernst Becker spent his career arguing that this impulse is the central fact of human civilization. That everything we have ever built, religion, art, law, culture is a reaction to the knowledge that we die. That the grave is not just where we put the dead, it is where we put our fear of becoming them. The earliest grave goods were not decorations. They were arguments. A belief that whatever you were going to needed to be equipped for it. A spear means somewhere you might have to hunt. A necklace means somewhere people might see you. These objects were not symbolic. They were practical preparations for a journey that had no map. And there is something else hidden in the burials that most people overlook. Burial takes time. It takes effort. It pulls resources away from survival. A group stopping to bury their dead is a group that is not hunting, not moving, not gathering. They are doing something with no immediate survival benefit whatsoever. Evolution does not favor behavior that costs without returning, and yet this behavior appeared early, persisted everywhere, and has never disappeared. Which means that at some point, burying the dead started giving something back. Maybe it was social cohesion, the shared ritual binding the group together at the moment it was most at risk of breaking apart. Maybe it was the signal it sent to the living. We will do this for you too. Maybe it was simply the relief of having somewhere to put the weight of it. We have never stopped doing it. 30,000 years of changing everything, our tools, our food, our language, our gods, and we still dig a hole in the ground, arrange the person we love with care, and leave something behind. The objects change. The rituals change. The beliefs about what happens next change completely, and then change again. But the impulse underneath all of it does not. The first humans who buried their dead did not know what they were starting. They just knew they could not walk away without doing something. That feeling has never left us. It may be the oldest thing about us that still works exactly the same way. If this made you think there's a lot more where that came from, subscribe so you don't miss it.